Hello everyone, this is Old Gamer. Today we're going to be continuing with our lesson 3. This time we're going to go dig deeper on the menu screen. On my previous lesson, we went ahead and learned how to understand how to read the background settings for the Ikemen Go. We went ahead and took advantage and removed all the code settings of the background, and we replaced a blue background. We went ahead and also learned how to move the fonts as well and how to position it. So in this exercise, we're going to go even deeper. So keep in mind that this video is going to be long because I want you to see from start to finish how I do things. Now, I know that a lot of people out there, when they make tutorials, they make them short and they kind of skip a lot of things and they don't actually pinpoint the most important of when it comes to coding, programming, and or when you're trying to create something. And I understand that, but you have to understand that this is a video guide. So when you're watching this video, please do not skip anything and make sure to follow along. I want you to get used to understanding how these tools actually works when you're using Fighter Factory. I want you to get the practice on how to get used to using the paint.net and also get used to using the notepad++ when you're trying to copy and paste codes and settings when you're making the animation or you're trying to create something out of something, you know. So just to let you know that I have no kind of foundation whatsoever, so I'm going by instincts. Basically, I'm just showing you from start to finish in real time, okay? So we're gonna make sure, I want you to get used to what we're trying to create here, okay? So let's go ahead and get back to the Ikemen. So you could see that only thing we did was removed the background, we removed the logo, the clouds, the shadows, the everything that came with it with the original, and the only thing we did was we put a blue background. And then after that we went ahead and moved the fonts. Okay? Alright. So now we're gonna work on creating a better menu besides this plain, simple, boring setup they got here. Even though it looks pretty decent. Alright? Alright. So right now we went ahead and added the blue background. But what if we want to go ahead and make something even better? Like something that is unique and different in so many ways. Well, we're going to go ahead and take the time and make layers and how we can measure. Make sure that the canvas of your paint.net is 1280 by 720, okay? Because that is the support resolution that the Ikemen Go supports, okay? You really don't need to make it I want to show you. You don't really need to make it any higher than that because on the option screen you can actually customize it the way you want it. You can make it to be 1920 by 1080p and you could actually stretch the full screen. You see that? You can make it also custom. You can actually enter the resolution of that and actually will stretch that particular one. Okay, just let you guys know that you can actually um, stretch the video and you can change the resolution and everything. Okay, all right. But in this exercise we're gonna go ahead and close we're gonna stop the demo from playing at the moment because we're working on the menu and the demo kind of kicks in every often as you can see so we're gonna have to show you now this little link right here at the bottom. Okay, I'm gonna show you where is that located, so this way if you want to try to promote your own screen pack and you want to promote your own website, I'm going to show you how to add uh, the URL in front of you on the demo mode. Okay, but that can wait to another video. So let's go ahead and go open up our system.dat. I'm going to show you how to do it. Okay, so open it up. So in my previous video I went ahead and put it on my image, on the picture folder right here. I put it inside the Spider Factory, and I went ahead and moved it here. Okay, so basically, go through your Ikemen, go to Data, and then go to Ikemen 1. Under Ikemen 1, you want to double click on the system.def. Now, I best recommend to go to Properties, okay, and change it to the default version of Notepad++, okay, and set it as default. So this way, it gives you easy access when you're using a Notepad++, okay. So right now on this video, we solely focus on making a cool little menu, okay, something that I want to show you, okay. All right, there you go. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and open up the system.def. Okay, on the system.def, we're going to hold control and the letter F, and we're going to type in the word demo. Oh my god, my bad texting here. All right, now we're going to hit next, and there it is. So we're going to disable this right here. This is what's playing in the background. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and take that and disable that. There we go. We're going to go ahead and hit save. And now now the demo mode has been turned off. And now we can go ahead and focus nothing but the menu. We're going to be doing nothing but menus. Okay, this whole entire exercise, how to make your own menu, basically. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and change this because this is something I don't want to use. Okay, but I am going to use the background. Okay, so we're going to open up our paint.net. Make sure the canvas, okay, make sure that the canvas is 720, 1280 by 720p, okay? All right, I'm going to use my blue background that I created on my previous video, and I'm going to go ahead and create a new layer. Okay, I'll move this up here, and I also can hide the background, you see? That's what you do, okay? Let me start over, okay? So what you do is you click this little square right here, or you can press the F7 on your keyboard, and then you go down here and add the layer. You see? You can add many layers you want, okay? Then, if it's on the top, then you just move it like this. So this way, this is in the front. So I can go ahead and grab, like, say, my little drawing tool here. Okay, let me show you. Make it more like that, and I can actually paint the size. Look. Oh yeah, let me go ahead and yeah, okay, good. You can see that it's right there. You see? So on top is where you see it on top. There it goes. Okay, so I can draw anything I want, right? Like this. Woo! Like that, and you can actually hide it. You see? This way you'll be able to see where it is. Just make sure you put it on top, okay? All right, so let's go ahead and delete that. Okay, now we're going to take advantage of what we're trying to create here, okay? So let's go back and count how many menus it has on the front menu of the menu screen, okay? So let's go ahead and open up Ikemen Go. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 8 on 8 columns of each category, okay? So there's 8. So we're going to create our own 8 version of boxes. So we're going to go right here on the shapes right here and click that. And then we're going to go ahead and use any kind of shape we want. Okay? So we're going to go ahead and, you know, make it nice and neat. Make it, you know, remember I'm no artist. I'm just trying to create my own menu. You see? I want to make sure that I want to make 8 of these. Now, I want to go ahead and change that color into black. Let me go back to the color wheel here, and I want it to be transparent black. Yeah, that's much better. Okay, I want to make sure that that is a transparent. I'm going to grab this magical wand and click the whole entire thing because I want it to be transparent, better transparency, you see? So I'm going to go ahead and go right here to an adjustment under transparency, and then we're just going to make it as transparent as we can, okay? There we go. And we're going to hit OK. All right, there it is. Now it's nice and, oops, let me control Z. So you can see that we can make a transparency of that shape. You see? Okay, now we're gonna do is we're gonna hold Control and C. Okay, and then we're gonna go ahead and Control V. Now we went ahead and paste it. Now we can move it down. You see that? So now we got the shape of it. Now we're gonna Control B again, and then we're gonna move it down just like that. But to move it down, just hold the control and then use the arrows to help it move it down. Here we go. Okay. I always like to start over. I want to make sure that what we're doing is the right thing. Okay, now. Okay, and then we're going to Control V. There we go. And move it down. Okay. There we go. Control V. And then move it down. Just like that. Control V. Move it down. See, we're just pasting. We're not doing anything. See, now we got four done. Okay, now we're gonna go ahead and do it again. I think I made it too big, but I think this is just fine, just the way it is. Okay, all right, we're gonna go ahead and Control V. Okay, and move it down. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We need 3 more. There we go. All right, we're almost there. Control V. Okay, and okay, we got 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now we're gonna press Enter, and then Control V one more time. Okay, that's a little bit off, but that's okay. We're gonna move it up here. There we go. All right. All right, make sure that they are lined up perfectly. We're gonna highlight the whole entire thing here. Okay, and then we're gonna grab this. See, I went ahead and grabbed this little square, and I hold left click on the clicker on the mouse, and I highlight the whole thing like that. You see? I hope I made it sure that it's in the right size. Okay, and then we're gonna use this right here, this little arrow, to move the whole thing. So we can move it up here, and then we're gonna move it down a little bit, not too far. Just we need enough room to, you know, to make it look cool. Okay, and we're gonna hit Enter, just like that. Okay, so now we know what we're creating. You see? Okay. All right. Now this right here, what we're creating is a custom made menu. We're not going to use, this is a one part lesson of how you want to make your menu the way you want it. You know, it all depends on how you want to do it. Okay, so make sure you have enough room to make the title and everything else. Okay, just keep that in mind. Okay, all right. Let me Control Z that one real quick. There we go. Let me move it down just a little bit. So what I like to do is I like to go back to the Ikemen Go, and I like to take a picture because I need to know where this. See, you see the banner right here, but this was all text and banner. Of course, we can move that off, but I always like to keep it there so people can see what model it is. Nightly built number 4. And it's the date that it was made. You know, I like those little cool little pixels style, you know, fonts. So I'm gonna press F12. Okay, so this way I can see by pressing F12, you're taking a picture of the image of the Ikemen Go, okay? So let's go back to Ikemen. So let me start over so I can show you real quick. Delete that. Okay. So if you press F12, let me move this over here. If you pay attention over here on the left side where the exe is, and you press the F12, it creates an image. And there it is. So now if we view it in a large icon, you can see that it's actually made the picture of the image. You see? Okay, so that gives us enough room to mess around. So now we can go ahead and take this little box and we're going to paste it right in here. And we're going to say add to layer. Okay, so now we're going to move this sucker down here and we can actually hide this. And so see, now we know what to do now because we can see what we're working with. You see? You see that? Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and now that we have this highlighted, okay, we're going to highlight this because we want to have control of moving it. We're going to grab this little box right here and we're going to hold left on the left trigger on the mouse. Okay, and then we're going to grab this right here to move it down a little bit more. Not too much. There we go. I want to make sure there's some room there, you know. All right, there we go. So now we know what we're dealing with. You see? This way I can go ahead and create the cool little app, you know, cool little logo and without the problem without being in the way. You see? And this is what the layers is for. This way it captures what you're trying to create and give you an idea what we're making, okay? All right. All right. So now that we got that out of the way, okay, now we're going to go ahead and create another shadow box here. And we're going to see, what I like to do is I always like to make um boxes. I always like to create image boxes for information, so this way people could see what they're what they're choosing. You know what I mean? You know, but if you want to make it into like an online gameplay with it, then that's cool. When you're making screen packs, you really don't need to include netplay. I'm just saying, because a lot of people use Parsec, mostly Parsec all the time, or Shadow PC. You know what I mean? And depending on what software they use when it comes to P2P. But just to let you know that you can create anything you want when it comes to making a menu. Okay. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and we got this out of the way, okay? So we can go on the internet and see, you can make anything, anything you want. It's possible, okay? So I want to show you that it's not that hard, okay? So be sure to follow along. So we went ahead and create these little shadow boxes, okay? So we're going to go ahead and create the shadow box for, so what I like to do is I want to highlight this right here, okay, make sure it's nice and highlighted. I always like to make enough room to, when it comes to, you know, when it comes to menus, you see. So just make sure that you want to highlight the whole thing. So what I want to do is I want to highlight this right here. Okay, there we go. Like, not too big, just enough. I'm trying to try to get a good size right there. There you go. All right. And then we're going to go to effect. And then we're going to go to textures. Now to get access to these plugins, make sure you go online, okay? Type in Bolt, Bait, Paint, Package, Plugins, okay? Downloads. And right here on his website, you click on this, and you click on right here. It says bolt baits. Okay, pack 611.zip. You download that. Once you're done downloading that, okay, you tell it extract all. You go inside. You click on this. See, an update of the plugin is available. Would you like to update the 11th? Oh, yes, yes. Let's go ahead and do the update on number 12. I didn't know there was a number 12 version. So let's go ahead and update that. There we go. Run it anyways. All right, and make sure that everything is selected. Okay. Oh, wow, he included 3D content? Nice. That's what I'm talking about. All right. Okay, so let's go ahead and install it. I agree. There we go. And then it said install everything. Okay, we need to close this. But before we close it, let's go ahead and save our project. Save as. And we're gonna save it right here on our downloads just to know where it is. And we're gonna name this one the menu. The menu. There we go. As a PNG because it saves what we've been working on. Okay, now we can go ahead and close this and retry. Now we're downloading all the new updates for the plugins for bolt baits. And we're gonna tell it yes. Overwrite. Apply it to all files. Overwrite. I hope it doesn't make duplicates. That's what I hate when it creates duplicates. All right, installation is complete. Let's go ahead and close that. And now we can reopen our paint.net. All right, now we're gonna go to File. We're gonna click on Open. This is what we've been working on. There we go. All right, we can go ahead and delete this because we're already done with that. So we're gonna go ahead and delete it. Remove that. Okay. All right. Okay, so we can see that we went ahead and did that. Now let's see here. Let's see what kind of features that he included. See, I knew that he's gonna make. See, this is why I don't understand why I created a duplicate when knowing there's not supposed to be two of these. I'm gonna have to go back to the plugins and remove that, but that's okay. But when you install it for the first time, it's already there. Yeah, see, it kind of made a bunch of duplicates. When I told it to overwrite what is already there, that makes no sense. But anyways, so we're gonna go ahead and go to text format. So we're gonna highlight this real quick. Oops. We'll go ahead and Control Z there. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and highlight this. Make this nice and neat. There we go. And then we're going to go to textures, no, text format. And then we're going to go to text font. There we go. All right, the text I'm using is called the bitmap 7. That's the font that I'm using. So we're going to go ahead and load it down the text a little bit. We want to make sure it's nice and fit in the box without getting caught up by any shadows or anything like that. Okay, we want to make sure it's bold. We could also make it slanted if we want to, but we don't want to do that. We want to keep it nice and neat. Okay. Okay, now we're going to go to the fun because we need to separate the letters a little bit. There we go. And then we can go to outline, so we increase the outline because I'd like to increase it, you know. Okay. And then because we're dealing with pixel art graphic design on that, I'm gonna turn this to Miller. You know, like just like that. Look at that. Nice. Let me see if I can increase the text a little bit. There we go. That's much better. Of course, we want to lower down the shadow because we really don't need to add too much shadow. Also, we can move it down a little bit so the text does not touch anything. pointing to the south like that. You know, it's all about reference how you want to use the 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 bulb-based text font factory. Okay. Of course, I want to lower down the the text because I want to keep it, you know, plain and normal. Okay. The outline it is fine. I think the outline is just fine, just the way it is. And then we're gonna go to solid. That's the outline color. We're gonna go to the fill gradient. Okay, outline fill. Okay, so we can actually change the way the gradient of the color. You know, it's up to you. I always like to keep it, you know, simple, nothing crazy. You know what I mean? Just to make that look like that little cool little clean texture, you see? So now we got that out of the way. Now we can go back to the text here. Okay, and then we're gonna type in main menu. You see? And then we can actually put it right there in the center, you know? And if you want, you can actually control it too. Let's go ahead and hit OK. And then we can use this to control it. You see? We can nice and, you know, keep it nice and neat. We don't want nothing blocking it. You see? There we go. See now you see how the background is coming together. You see how it's coming together now? Okay. Now we're gonna create another shadow. Okay, I'm gonna put it right here. Make sure it's a little bit bigger, but not too big. There we go. Okay. All right. And then we're gonna grab this little bucket right here and we're gonna paint it. Boom, just like that. You see? And then we're gonna go ahead and go to adjustment and then transparent. And we're gonna lower down that transparency a little bit. Not too much, just to get that cool little transparency going on. There we go. There we go. You see how we're creating the menu for it. You see that? All right. Oh, what I always like to do is I like to grab this and paint that over it to match with the color. You see? You can do it many ways you want to do it. You know, it all depends. It all depends how you make the menu. You know what I mean? So, all right. So we're gonna go ahead and add more transparency into it. Just add a little bit more. There we go. That's much better. Okay. Now keep in mind that transparency will show on the screen. Okay. So you keep that in mind. So remember, we can hide the background. You see? Watch. You see? Now that's what it looks like. But when you look at it on an actual screen, it's gonna look like that. You see? See how it gives it that beautiful effect? You don't even notice. Okay? All right. All right. So next we're gonna go ahead and go ahead and hide this real quick. Okay, we're gonna hide the background. Okay. All right. And we'll worry about creating more boxes for the menu right now, but the key is that we're trying to make the menu the way we should make it, okay? The way you want to make it, okay? All right? Okay, so we're going to go ahead and hit File, Save As. And what I like to do is I like to create a folder, right? Let me show you. What I like to do is I like to create a folder, okay? Because I like to keep my assets, what I'm trying to create. Go to Folder. I'm going to call it Screen Pack. Assets. Okay? Inside the folder, we're going to click on that. And then we're going to go ahead and click on New. and we're going to call it menu sprites assets. Just like that. Then we're going to grab that background. Okay. We're going to grab that background and we're going to put it right in there. Okay. Oh yeah, one thing too, we need to go ahead and go to File, Save As. Okay. And then we're going to go inside here, the folder that we created. We're going to go inside the menu sprite folder right here, and we're going to type in PNG format. And then we're going to call this one the menu hub. This is the menu hub. Okay. There we go. And we're going to hit OK. Okay, now we're going to Control Z. Hide the menu. There we go. Save as. Make sure that the transparency is on -1. Let's go put this back to -1. There we go. I'm going to hit OK. It's always you always want to do this for backgrounds by putting a -1. Okay. And then save as. All right. PNG. This is the blue background. Okay. You can name it anything you want. Okay. There we go. Okay. All right. Now that's out of the way, but we're not done just yet. No. We still got a lot of work to do. Okay. So we got that out of the way. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead and because I'm too lazy to to explain to you guys how to make a bitmap, but I'm going to show you how to do it. So let's go back to Fighter Factory. Okay. On the Fighter Factory, you're going to click on this little square right here. It says PCX, and we're going to add that hub. So we're going to go ahead and click on that. And then we're going to go to Downloads. And then we're going to go to Sprite, Screen Pack Assets. And then we're going to go to the menu. And then we're going to grab that menu hub right there. We're going to hit Open. Okay, now we're going to start focusing on groups numbers and index numbers. So the next index number and group number is 1 and 1. Okay, because we already got 1 and 0. So now we're going to hit this. Hit OK. Now, on here, we're going to go ahead and turn on the onion skin. Okay, this let us see what's going on in the background. You see? Okay. Now, I do see some imperfections on there. So let's go ahead and turn this off and take a look at that imperfection. I think there were some imperfections that I saw on here. Maybe it's probably the graphics itself doing that, but I don't know. To me, it felt like there's some imperfect, and this is what bothers me the most, is where when you turn off the onion skin and you can barely see it. I don't know if it's there, but I can see it right there. You see the imperfection? I don't know where that came from, but on the paint.net, it doesn't seem like it's there. I don't know if I can see it. Let me move it down a little bit. It's in the second box right here. I see it. I see it right there. Yeah. There it goes. Yeah, it's right there. There's a little bit of imperfection. So we're going to go ahead and grab the eraser. Okay. We're going to grab the eraser here and erase these imperfections. Make sure that we do highlight that. There we go. Because it shouldn't be in the way of things. There you go. Now, if we see any other imperfection, we can just erase it without, you know, make sure it's nice and clean. There we go. Make sure there's no imperfection. See, we pasted most of the stuff there, but that was the only one that was imperfection. Yeah. So that was the only one that was imperfect. Okay. Make sure that all of them are the same. There you go. Yeah. Okay. That was the only one that was, it felt like a little bit off and a little bit imperfection there. There we go. All right. So now we got that taken care of, nice and clean. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead and save it one more time. Okay. PNG. The menu hub. Save it. Overwrite that. We're going to make sure we want to overwrite it, you know. There we go. There you go. Okay. Nice and clean. Now we can go back and then replace it. And that little imperfection will be gone. Tell it no and ignore. Oh wait, that's not the hub that we want. Let me go ahead and it's this one. There we go. Now the imperfection is gone. There's a little bit of imperfection going on here. I don't know why, but let me I did clean it. I did clean it off the. Yeah, it's nice and clean. I don't know why it's not this. Let me go ahead and do it again. Save as. Menu hub. Yes. And okay. There we go. Alright, we're going to go ahead and move this over here. Okay, and replace. No, ignore. There we go. Now it's gone. It should be gone. Yep. Nope. It's still there. Oh my goodness. I'm having a little fight over here. Let me add a background. Let me see. Okay. It's still there. I don't know why it's still there, but it shouldn't be there. We're going to add some black color real quick. Let me go ahead and add a little black color. Add a little layer here. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and add that in there and then grab the paint bucket and paint that in there. Actually, let's make it red. So this way I'll be able to see everything. There you go. Now let's go ahead and zoom, 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 zoom. Yep, there it is. You see, there's the imperfection right there. Actually, let me raise up the, let's turn it to purple. Oh, right here. Okay. There you go. All right. Now let's go ahead and grab this right here and get rid of that imperfection. I don't know why I did that, but it shouldn't be interfering what we're trying to create here. There we go. Now it should be gone. Make sure all that imperfection is gone. Let's see what it looks like back here in the front. Everything is fine. Anything back here? Okay. It should be gone now. Okay. Now we can go ahead and delete this background. There we go. And save. Now we can go ahead and see this little thing gone right there. So let's go ahead and replace it one more time. Open, say no, ignore, and there you go, it's gone. There you go. Okay. There you go, nice and clean. Look at that. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and save. And then we're going to go back. We're going to scroll all the way up to our system.dev under menu, backgrounds. There it is. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to do a little bit of cheat sheet. Okay, so we're going to highlight this whole thing right here. We're going to go ahead and copy, press enter, and then control on your keyboard, hold control and V, and then you can paste it. Now this one is the hub. So we're going to go ahead and type that in. This is the main menu hub. You see? There we go. Just like that. Okay. And then we're going to hit save. Okay. We're going to change this number into a 1. Remember what I told you in my previous video, what these two numbers stands for and what this actually means? For those who don't know, I'm going to tell you anyways. This is called the sprite no. Sprite no stands for sprite number. The first number is the group and the second number is the index. If you look over to your Fighter Factory, I went ahead and created a group number 1 and the index number 1. The next page is group 1 and index 0. The second sprite number is group 1, index 1. Now if you turn on the onion skin, you can see the background of the menu. Of course, I always like to use my guidelines, so I always click the fourth one. There you go. So now it's actually in the front. So now we're going to go ahead and hit save. Okay. Then we're going to go back to our Notepad++, where our system is, and we're going to hit save. So now when we run the menu, the actual Ikemen Go for the first time, you're going to see how the menu looks. There it is. You see that? You see how it's coming along? Okay. Now remember, this is just a practice. Now see now we went ahead and added another menu on there. Okay. Okay, but we're not done just yet. Now we're gonna do is we're gonna change those fonts. Okay. This is be a simple thing to do. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to .font.com. Okay. We're gonna go right here. And I'm gonna go to the pixel and bitmap boxes. Okay, now it all depends on how you want to use your time and how you want to use these fonts. It's up to you how you want to go about doing this. We're gonna be sitting here all day trying to find the right type of bitmap that I want, but I already know what I want. See, so I'm gonna type in .font. I'm gonna put bit. I think it was called bitmap or bittrap. Let me go to the effect. Okay, we're gonna go to the font factor, and it's called bittrip 7. Okay, so now we're gonna go to the website, go back to the internet, type in bittrap 7 font. There we go. And there's the font that I'm looking for. This is the font that I'm using, that I went ahead and installed on the computer, because see, it has all the characters, even the special characters are in here, you see, and we need that. Okay, even though it looks like it's very small, we're going to go ahead and download that, even though I already installed it, but we still can use that. Okay, now there's another one right here. It's called bitmaps. It's the same one. Okay, it's the same one. All right, but you can search it on the internet any way you want it. Okay, all right, now that we got the bitmap font, we're going to go ahead and tell it extract all. Okay, and then we're going to go inside the bitmap here, right here, and we're going to go, oh, see, it's a TTF. Nice. So we're going to go ahead and grab this, cut it. Okay, and then we're going to navigate to our pictures, Fighter Factory, and then we're going to go right here. Now what I like to do is I like to always like to create it. Now we could put it in here, but then you're going to get all this crazy mess. So I like to do is I like to create my own. So I'm just going to go inside the data folder. We're going to go to Mugen 1. Okay. And then we're going to go to the fonts and we're going to put it right in here. Okay. Just going to paste it right in there. Boom. Just like that. Okay. Now, before we can start using the actual bitmap, we're going to go back. Okay. Go back one more time. Back one more time. And we're going to go to options. Fonts. Underneath the fonts, usually it'd be somewhere in here. It's called, maybe it's probably under arcade. I think it's arcade. Let me see if it says true type. Yes, it is. No, it's not. It's a bitmap. It definitely is a bitmap. How do you know this is a bitmap? Because it's right there. It says it. It's a bitmap type. Okay. I know in here, somewhere in here is a true. Ah, there it is. Options. Now, if you see what it says right here, it says true types. You see that? So we're going to use this one. So we're going to make a copy of this. We're going to go back and we're going to go to data and then we're going to go to Ikemen. Okay. And then we're going to go to the font and then we're going to paste it right in here. Okay. I'm showing you many ways how to make a menu. This is one way. Okay. All right. So we're going to take this bitmap. Okay. We're going to go ahead and right click on this, rename, and we're going to type it and we're going to copy that name. Okay. We're going to take this option, right click, rename, and paste. Just like that. You see that? And then we're going to go inside the folder. Oops, sorry. Didn't mean to click that. Okay, we're going to go ahead and click on the definition of bitmap. Okay, we're going to scroll down a little bit and we're going to change that. Instead of saying open SAM, whatever, blah, 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 we're going to go ahead and highlight this whole thing and paste it right in here. Just like that. Now, if it doesn't show, we can just type in font, the path of where it should locate it, but it should read it. So let's go ahead and save. Okay. Now we're going to go back to the system.def. We're going to scroll all the way up to the font section here. Okay. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to use menu 1. We're going to replace that with menu 1. We're going to paste the name. There it goes. Okay. And then we're going to hit save. Okay. Now, if it has some effect with this being the way, we could just remove that and just name it bittrip7. We can hit save. Let's go back to the bitmap right here and remove that. Remove those little funny characters and just call it bit7. Okay, and we hit save. The name of the font is actually it's called bittrip7. Remove that name. Little funny characters right there. Hit save. Now let's go back to the fonts one more time and rename that. Let's go ahead and change the name, rename that. Okay. Just to keep it just like that. There we go. I want to make sure that the path is different. Okay, save. Okay, and then we're going to copy the name right here. Just like that. There we go. See? It keeps its original format, but we changed the name so there won't be no confusion, okay? All right. Now we're going to go make sure go ahead and close this. All right. That's where it needs to be because this is what we want to show, okay? All right, now we're going to scroll down a little bit to the settings of the main menu of the settings. All right, so let's go ahead and close this. Now, all that you see right now is going to be gone, and it's going to replace it with something else. Let's give it a moment. There it is. So there's the bitmap. There's the bitmap, bittrip7 menu. Okay, and it's kind of small, but we can fix that. Okay, So we can fix that. So right now we can create our own size, but we don't need to do that because we can do it right here. Okay, so right now the size is 6 by 11. So let's try 20 by 20. Okay, let's hit save. And this is a game little ping pong. You're gonna be opening and closing. Okay, it's getting there. It's getting there. I don't know why it looks like it's small, but it was supposed to be bigger. Um, I did say, okay, let's try 60. If not, we're gonna have to take a look at the code and see why it's not getting bigger. All right, so let's go ahead and close that and try it again. Yeah, it's not getting any bigger, even though this is where it's supposed to create the size. So let's go back to the system. What's causing that from not making it work? We can actually create a menu item. So we're gonna go ahead and type in menu dot item dot scale equals, and we're gonna type in probably 2 comma 2 and see what happens. Then we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna type in menu dot item dot, make sure it's spelled right, item dot active dot scale equals 2 comma 2. All right, let's see what happens. Okay, it's a little bit bigger. It looks kind of blurry. This is why I don't like using bitmap, but hey, it's getting there. Let's try a little bit bigger. Let's make this into a 0 and see what happens. Okay, this right here needs to be a 0. Just a tweak factor. We're gonna leave it at 0, and then just save it and see what happens now. I still want to increase the number. Let's try 120 to 120 just to make it see what happens. All right, and I'm gonna put this back to standard and see what happens from there, just to keep it standard and see what happens. See, it didn't increase the fonts whatsoever. Okay. All right, let's try a 4 comma 4. Let's see what happens now. Let's make it bigger. It's gonna look awful, but you can do whatever you want to do with the menu. Remember, you're gonna be dealing with trials and errors all the time. Yes, you see how it got bigger, but it looks terrible. It looks all blurry. Ugh. So, TTF is not a good idea to do this, but that's okay. So we'll go ahead and remove these scales. We're gonna go ahead and Control V everything, put everything back where it was. Yeah. All right. All right. Put this all back to where it was. There we go. All right. All right. We'll come back to this another time. I don't know why it's not making it bigger. On Mugen it usually is reads it as let's see what happens if we put a blend 0, and let's go back and Control Y and see what happens. You gotta like tamper with everything. Everything is all. Oh, look at that! Now it's working. There it goes. Okay, that's what it was. We had to turn off the blender. Okay, there it goes. That's what caused it. Now we can go ahead and change it back to 60. Let's change it to 60. There we go. Now we can have control of the way it should look. See, for a second I was like, wait a minute. Okay, we're getting there. It's kind of getting there. Yeah. Let's try a 40 because we want it to fit in the box. Now I know what you're thinking. That doesn't look very nice, but that's okay. It's getting there. That's the point is we're trying to make it, trying to get it to work. Okay, let's try 50. Control F. Oh yeah, you can't control F. You gotta close it. There we go. I say 55 is a good choice. Let's try 55. There you go. There we go. 55 is kind of good. Um, well, we won't know until we actually line it up. Okay, so this is where we're gonna go ahead and open up our system.def on the settings here. Let's go back to the title screen settings. Okay. The spacing is, I think it's kind of fine. We're gonna have to open up the spacing a little bit. Okay, we're gonna scroll down a little bit. Okay, this is the now loading. We're gonna come back for that later. Okay, what we're looking for, here we go. This is what we're looking for. Okay, so invisible item right now is 6. In other words, if you count, you got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. But the number 7 is kind of like hiding, so to speak. So we gotta count how many items do we want to show on the fonts, right? For the menu. So we have 8. So we need to change this right here into an 8. Okay. Okay, now we're gonna go ahead and make sure that this right here, okay, now the spacing. Okay, now we need to increase the spacing on top. Let's go back all the way up here. Back to the settings here. There you go. Under right now it's 54, so let's go ahead and save it. Let's close it. We're going to be playing with the spacing later. But we want to make sure we want to see everything. There we go. Now we're able to see all 8 of the items. But so when we move down, you see how it's not moving because we told it the only thing we want is 8. Okay? But we need to take this arcade right here and move it right here, okay? So right now I want it to be I want it to be nice and centered actually, but I want it to be right here, okay? So we need to move it. So we need to move it up a little bit. So let's put 290 and then let's move it to a little bit, probably 560. Move it up to the side here, 560. Okay, you just gotta like, you just gotta focus on how to move the font to these boxes. Okay. All right. Okay, we got it moving. Okay, we still got to get this arcade moving in the center. So let's move it a little bit more. Let's try 360. And let's move it up a little bit more. Let's put it to 230. The lower the number, it goes up. The higher the number, it goes down. The lower the number, it goes to the left. The higher number, it goes to the right. Okay, remember that. You just got to keep playing with it until you adjust it. There it goes. We're getting there. Okay, we're getting there. Okay, we're almost there. We're almost to the moving up. Okay, let's push it down to 280. 180, I'm sorry. And then 260, not 260, but more like, let's try 320. We're almost getting there. We're actually moving it there. Okay. And now you're gonna say, well, that looks so plain, old gamer. But the point is that you're learning to make something out of something. Okay. All right, that's kind of close. Let's try down. Let's move it down to 260. All right. Remember, pay attention to the word arcade. Don't worry about anything. Don't worry about these guys. Just worry about the word arcade. Okay. Just get that sucker centered. Oh, all centered. All right. Let's try 70. Let's move it down to. Let's try 200. You just focus on the word arcade. Almost there. It's kind of close to the center, but it's kind of centered. All right, let's try 75. We're gonna put a 20. We just focus on the arcade, the word arcade. Almost there. It was 180 the last time, so let's try 170. Almost there. But that's a little bit too low. It's somewhere like, let's try 77. I'm gonna keep on playing with these numbers until we get the arcade nice and centered. Okay, it's centered, but we need to move it down more. Let's try 88. And then we worry about resizing it through the bitmap folder on the def file. Okay, it's nice and centered. Okay, let's make it a little bit bigger. Let's make it a little bit bigger. So let's try 60. Last time it was 60. So let's put it back to 60 and see what happens. Remember, the bigger it gets, the you have to position it as well. So keep that in mind, okay? You have to make sure you position the font inside the menu. And you see that it's a little bit caught off because we made it a little bit bigger. So to do that, to fix that, we need to go right here on the Y section here, right here. Okay, and we're going to increase that number into a 50. Remember, the bigger the font, the increase of the on the modern velocity there. Okay, so let's go ahead and close that and open it. Okay, we still need to make it a little bit bigger. I still feel like it's not big enough. Let's see. Also, this right here, it can stay as 0. Let's increase that number into a 140. Okay. The spacing, we'll be playing with the spacing later. We're not worried about the spacing right now. We just want to get those letters bigger. All right. There we go. Okay, we kind of cut off the arcade off. Okay, so we need to lower down the number. Let me see. Probably, let me see, 40. Gotta keep on playing with these value numbers until you get it right. It's kind of caught off there. A lot of trials and errors. That's what you do when you're making screen packs. You're gonna have to deal with. Oh, look at that. See, I knew I was right about it. So that was the number that I had to increase. It wasn't this one that needed to be increased. It was this one. All right. So, all right. We still need to make it a little bit bigger. I still feel like it's not big enough. Let's try 65. until we get it right. There we go. That's much better. A little bit bigger, but not big enough. Let's make it a little bit bigger. Let's try 70. Let's try 70. Just to see. And then we'll play with the position again. We want to make sure they're big enough, but not too big. Okay, that's big enough right there. Okay. Okay, that's good enough. All right, now we can go ahead and move it down a little bit. All right, so let's go ahead and move it down. Let's try 90. No, 93. Let's try 93. We just need to move it just a little bit to where it needs to be centered. Remember, focus on the word arcade. Okay, it's a little big. Um, let's try a little bit bigger. Let's try 53. Okay, that's good enough. Okay, now that's big enough right there. We don't want to make it too big. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and go and move it down a little bit more. Probably 196. Remember, everything is all about second guessing, tweaking, figure out what is what. We need to move it up a little bit. That's much better. There you go. Okay, now we're going to play with the spacing, okay? We got the arcade and everything else, okay? But we still need to fix the spacing. Okay, so the spacing is where we start playing with. So right now it's 54, so let's try to increase the number to 60. Okay, it's getting there. We need to increase it some more. So let's try an 80. Okay, let's go ahead and close that. We're going to keep on increasing the number until they fit in the box. Okay, okay, 80 was a little bit too much. 80 was a little bit too much. Okay, so let's try a 70. We're going to keep on lowering the number until all of them fit inside the box perfectly. Okay, they fit in the box. Look at that. So 70 did the job right there. Okay, now in my previous video, I told you how you can go about changing the settings, right? All right, so we're gonna go ahead and go back up here. No, not there. Down a little bit more. There we go. So remember, you're gonna have to type in the ones on top. We'll worry about the singles and all that later. So right now we got arcade versus mode. Let's take a look. We got versus mode. We got network. We need to look for watch mode. There it is, watch mode. Okay, and we can just change that into AI mode. Like that. Keep it simple. Nothing crazy. There you go, see? You see how it fits in the box? You see that? AI mode, options, missions, practice, network, versus an arcade. You see how it's coming along just nicely? Alright? Alright, so when we go to arcade mode, then you got all this crap right here blocking everything. You see that? Okay, so we're gonna fix that too. So let's go back to the arcade section here. Okay, all right. Let's think, instead of calling it single mode, we're just gonna go and play. Just put, instead of calling it single, we just keep it simple, solo. All right, and and instead of calling it Team Arcade, we're just gonna call it Tag Arcade. Let's see what happens when we keep it short. Okay, let's take a look at this Team Co-op. We just can call it Co-op. We don't really knew. You really don't need to keep it, you know, just keep it simple. And instead of saying the word back, just say return. Keep it simple. All right, let's go ahead and close that and redo it again. All right, arcade. Okay, solo mode is nice. Well, we can just call it, whatever you want to call it. We can just call it tag mode. Okay, mode. Like that. And then we can, when instead of calling it solo, we can just call it plain P1 mode. Like that. With the dot. Or just like that, P1 mode. There we go. All right. There you go, P1 mode, tag mode, solo, co-op, and return. There you go. Now versus mode. See, you got that versus whatever. You see that? We could change that right here to tag. When keep it simple, or we're just call it tag and just BS, and then mode if you want. Keep it simple. Just you go through each one of these until you get it right. Yeah, that was a little bit too much. So let's see what happens when you just leave it as. We could also put a line on it and then put versus. There we go. Close that. Go back. Just enough to where you want to fit in the box, Okay, that was a little bit too much. Maybe just basically versus. There we go. Yeah, you see, keep it simple. And then you got versus co-op, right? So we basically just remove the word versus. Okay, and then space. All right, we're gonna remove the word match and just call it match. We can also type in the word mode, but that'd be too much. So we're gonna go ahead and close that, and we're gonna type in return. There we go. You see, keep it simple. You see? Okay, you got the practice mode, it'll take you to the practice mode. Mission, okay, and you got the survival, co-op survival, time attack, and back. And that is right here. Under survival. There it is. So you see how they got this long. You really don't need explain what it means. Okay. Basically, .ta mode, survival, okay, co-op, you know, because it's already under mission, you see? So go ahead and close that. You see? Keep it simple. You see how they fit in the box? Of course, we want to change this into return. Okay. All right. And then we're going to go to AI mode. See, instead of calling it CPU match, we can just keep it simple. So we'll scroll down right here. CPU match, right? When you're just going to type in battle, AI battle. Just keep it simple. Random test, just keep it simple. Just keep it test. Replay, and as it is, remote, return. And then now we go ahead and close that. There we go. See, AI mode, AI. Well, we can just call it, instead of calling it AI, just call it battle. Let's just keep it little dot right there. Put a little dot there, and or better yet, we can even add a line there. But the dot will do the trick. There you go. This is where you want to fit in the box. There you go. See, perfectly fit in the box. AI battle. Test return. And then you got your options. And we're going to get to that later. So right now we got a simple menu in the mix. Okay, so now you know how to do the simple menu, and we're not done just yet, so we're gonna stop here. Okay, so I showed you how to go ahead and change the the colors on the font on my previous video, but we can actually change and make it more brighter. We can actually go back to the menu right here, and right now it's kind of like toned down, but if we put a 0 there, it will make it more brighter. So now that green color is gonna go brighter. There we go. See, now it's more brighter than it normally was. Look at that. Okay. Okay, guys, that's the end of the lesson of part 3 on how to make your own menu on the Ikemen Go. Okay, now we're gonna do a different approach. This time we're gonna go ahead and give it a more in-depth. Okay, now I would not suggest using true type fonts, but if you're too lazy to, you don't feel like you don't want to make a bitmap, but you want something simple, you just get it out of the way. This is one way to do it. Okay, this is part 1 on how to make a menu. Okay, well, now we still got on lesson 4, and we're gonna go deeper into making fonts. Okay, we're gonna make bitmap fonts and how we can make it more efficient. You see, the more we spend time working on the menu, the more it becomes even better. Okay, I'm just giving you guys from start to finish. Sorry if the video is too long, but you need to understand that I'm trying not to skip anything when I'm trying to teach you how to make a custom or how to make your own menu for the Ikemen Go. Okay, this is Old Gamer saying God bless and take it easy, you guys.